What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Ironman Texas 70.3 race recap. Well, I'm pretty glad to say that I finished, which unfortunately was not the case for a lot of people. If you hadn't seen it already, a giant storm blew in down the coast of Galveston, and it had just caused havoc across the race course. The winds were just insane. And I actually managed to find a clip on YouTube and got it off Irina, who kindly gave it to me, so you can check it out and see just what it was like for yourself. And that's when people started getting pulled off the course. People are running into the pyramid there in Galveston and Moody Gardens, trying to get out of the weather. There's a ton of lightning going on. We had our kids there, and our kids are freaking out, crying. So we were trying to get them into the nearest car and nearest friend's car. And yeah, it was just really, really crazy. So I think it was a good call by the event organizers to pull people off the course. Because if you look at this clip here, you'll see the actual timing clock gets blown out of the finish line and almost lands on someone. There's pieces of signage that are just getting blown off course. I read somewhere someone had posted that they almost got impaled by a beach umbrella that went hauling across the race course and ended up out in the ocean. So yeah, I think it was a good call, and I do feel bad for all the people that didn't get to finish. I mean, especially those who were just so close. You end up with a DNF next to your name when you know that you still had it in you to get across the line. So that's a real bummer. But I do understand that they had to protect the athletes and their safety, and so it is what it is, and that's what happened. So unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about that. They did give discounts, however, to another race of your choice. So that was kind of a good gesture on their behalf as well. Anyway, about the race. The race was won by Andrew Starkowitz, who just had a just ridiculously insane bike split, 28.75 mile an hour on the bike. Just mind-blowing. And he won. Matt Hansen was second, with Matt Russell in third. Now in the women's, it was Jeannie Seymour and Leslie Smith. Now I have to throw this out there just for a bit of extra street cred. I actually was in a relay team with Leslie Smith for an open water, 12-mile open water relay swim about 8 years ago in Austin, and she was just a super strong swimmer back then, obviously still is now, and I was definitely, let's just say I was the anchor in the team, and more so because I was dragging everyone down. But it was still a great experience and cool to see her up there getting that second place. So awesome job to her. Third place was Jackie Herring. And one of the cool things about triathlon and Ironman is that you actually get to race the same course almost at the same time. I had quite a few of the pro women come by me on their last lap of the run as I was heading out on my first. And it was just amazing to see the speed that they were running with. And at that point, I was actually running a decent speed as well, and they just blew by me. So really, really cool to see all these talented athletes and just the amazing abilities that they have. Okay, race day itself. Well, for me, the race did not quite go according to plan. I set out with a goal of 4 hours, 30 minutes. Now that's pretty ambitious, I understand, for my first ever half Ironman, but I felt leading into it, that it was definitely a possibility. I would have to have a near perfect race to hit that time, but, I think I was trained and I was prepared. I was ready to at least give it a shot. And you want to set a goal that challenges you as well, and so that's kind of what I did. Now, unfortunately, leading up in the week before the race, I strained my neck, and I was having a lot of difficulty with range of motion, and also causing me a lot of discomfort. And so I wasn't sleeping good. So that was kind of a bit of a bummer leading into it. But luckily, Dynamic Sports Medicine, Dr. Mann, he kind of got me fixed up and got my range of motion back, and we managed to get the pain and the discomfort dialed way down, so that come race day, it was pretty close to okay. The only problem is I didn't get a great night's sleep again. But anyway, moving on. The swim, it started out as a pretty nice morning. Good temperature, a little bit cloudy and overcast. The wind was, I think around 10 mile an hour. Nothing crazy, but just enough to cause a bit of chop in the water. I had what I thought was really a decent swim. It wasn't my best time, but I went out relatively conservatively. And also with the weather and quite a bit of traffic on the course, we caught up to a few of the waves in front of us. I ended up swimming 33 minutes, so about a 1:43, 1:44 pace. Not my worst, but not my best. Anyway, moving on into transition. I had a pretty good transition. Decided to wear socks because I hadn't been training at all without socks. So obviously on race day, you don't want to all of a sudden do something that you haven't practiced. So put my fancy Aero socks that I got from Rule 28 on. And now this is quite a funny thing, but it bugged me the entire race, is that I didn't quite pull my left sock up as high as my right. Now that's just a bizarre thing to get hung up on. But it's quite funny when you're out there, you're suffering on the bike in the wind, and all I could think about was I needed to pull my left sock up just a little bit more. I didn't, because obviously I didn't want to waste the time to do that. But it was just one of those things that kind of got stuck in my head. Just completely bizarre and ridiculous. But anyway, the bike actually didn't start off good. As soon as I got on my bike, I realized that I didn't put my bike computer on and transition that morning. So my plan was to head out using my bike computer and my rotor power cranks to measure my output, and that was part of my plan. So I knew exactly the power I was going to use for the first half to the turnaround, pick it up a little, into the wind on the way back. And unfortunately this plan was a little bit out the window. I did, however, have my watch so I could keep an eye on my heart rate and also my speed. So, and that with perceived exertion, I was able to at least execute my plan, not quite accordingly, but it was close enough. Now, unfortunately, my heart rate on my watch started messing up as well. It was telling me I was doing 90 beats per minute when I was riding at about 27 miles an hour, which I know wasn't right. So yeah, that was a bit problematic. But unfortunately what this meant is that I ended up going out a little too hard on the bike. For the first 30 miles, I got passed by a few guys in my age group, and I got caught up in their kind of pace. And so I picked up my own pace, and in hindsight, I really rode a little bit too hard for that first 30 miles. So that's the swim. The bike was going okay. We'll get to the run. You often hear people talk about nutrition being the fourth discipline, and something you need to train for, you need to prepare for, and it can really throw a spanner in the works if you get it wrong. Now, unfortunately, that's what happened in my race. I had a nutrition plan, and my nutrition plan was based off an article that I read, and pretty widely known, is that your body can consume or digest 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour. I went on the lower side of that, so I was shooting for around 30 grams of carbohydrates per hour because I didn't want to take on too much and cause any stomach distress. So I had my race planned out, a gel when I got on the bike. I had water with me for the first part, a second gel at the turnaround, pick up a Gatorade bottle, another gel in transition. And that was my plan. Now, unfortunately, that's where things started to go wrong. I got to the turnaround, took my gel, grabbed my bottle of Gatorade, and just a few miles down the road, that bottle of Gatorade got ejected out of my bottle cage when I hit a rough patch of road. I was out of water, now had no gels left, and that left me with almost 20 miles to get to the next aid station. and absolutely zero fluids on me at all. So really, really bad situation to be in. Now, when I got to the next aid station, there was only one guy handing up Gatorades, and unfortunately, the guy just ahead of me pulled over and stopped to get that bottle of Gatorade from that guy. So when I came by, I had no opportunity to get anything at all. And so now I'm all the way from essentially the turnaround back to transition with no hydration at all, which is a bad, bad place to be in. I continued to kind of push the pace that I wanted to set on the bike, and I was relatively happy with my bike split. 2:22 I think was my bike split time, so 23.6 mile an hour. So pretty happy. It's around what I wanted to be at. But unfortunately, the damage had already been done. Going for that long without any hydration at all is something that you really can't come back from that. If I was to stop at the first aid station or in transition and just chug a bunch of water or Gatorade, take a gel, then my body's not going to be able to digest all of that if I take it on too fast during the run. Especially because you're running, your heart rate's up, a lot of the blood is no longer in your stomach. The blood that you need in your stomach to help digest that food is going to your legs. So really hard to come back from that at all. I just took a little bit of my gel, a sip of the Gatorade that I had, and I started off on the run. Now, I don't know if it was really the hype, the adrenaline, all the crowd kind of pumping me up, but I set off on the run, and I really didn't stick to the plan at all. The plan was to go out at about a 7:15 pace and then pick it up as the race went on, as my legs came around, settle into a slightly quicker pace. But I took off and I got caught up in the moment, and I was running a 6:50 pace straight out of transition. Probably a mile and a bit, 2 miles in, that time started slowing down, and it kept dropping and dropping, and my legs just felt terrible, all the way until I was running about a 9:20 pace. I grabbed some Coke, I walked through that transition, drank it, and started jogging again. And the Coke actually got into my system pretty quickly, and I was able to pick up that pace a little, and I got it back down to about an 8-minute mile. And about an 8-minute 20 is what I ended up running the rest of the race in. And I stopped at the same aid station on my third lap, drank Coke again, and that's really the only thing that got me through. But my legs were absolutely fried. I had pretty close to nothing left when I came across the line. And, in hindsight, I think when you look at it, it all came down to that. There's just losing that one bottle. And to be honest, I probably could have taken on more carbs as well. And in the future, I probably will. Because when you look at, my expenditure of calories throughout the day versus what I was taking on, I think I was really, undershooting what I needed as well to be able to perform. So really just a good lesson learned. Unfortunately, I had to learn it that way. You always hate to learn a lesson the hard way, but that's what happened, and I think it's a good thing for me to keep in mind for the next one, which I don't know exactly what is going to be next. I know I have Xterras coming up, but in terms of the longer distance stuff, I don't know. I'm looking down the road a little at maybe Waco. We'll see. I haven't actually talked to my wife about that just yet, so we might have to have a conversation about that one. But I feel like, with the work that I put in and all the training that my coach Brant had given me, I think I was really well prepared. But it just came down to that mistake that I made on hydration. And I took only what I needed and what I had planned on taking in the race. I didn't plan on anything else. So, yeah, I think it's a really good lesson to learn that you need to prepare, not necessarily for the worst, but you need to prepare at least for, say like dropping a gel or a bottle or something like that. So the difference maker for me could have been if I had have just taken an extra bottle on my bike out of transition. Maybe that would have made all the difference. Maybe it would have been perhaps just a couple of noon tablets or something like that, so that I could have picked up water and had some electrolytes and hydration as well. But yeah, so I think at the end of the day, I'm proud of the race that I put together. A little disappointed that I didn't hit that goal, but stoked to at least have finished, because like I said, so many people out there didn't even get that opportunity, which is a real bummer. But anyway, on to the next one for all of us, I'm sure. All right, wanted to give a quick shout out to Meat Fight. Meat Fight, you might have seen them there at Galveston. It's actually an MS charity, and they are raising money to give away bikes to people who are suffering from MS. And they give them a bike, they will create training programs for them, encourage them to sign up for events. They had a team, obviously they're racing Galveston. They have teams racing the MS rides or riding the MS rides throughout the country. And it's just such a cool thing that they've got going on. We made some stem caps for Meat Fight as well. And so I'm going to put a link to their website in the description below, so you can go check them out and find their online store and pick up some of their merch. They got kits and hats and t-shirts. So yeah, a whole lot of good things. Alice and the team at Meat Fight doing an awesome job. So big shout out to them as well. All right, so this was supposed to be kind of the grand finale for this video series. It was supposed to end with my, triumphant race here in Texas. Well, that didn't happen, but also there's actually a lot of things that we haven't even put out there in the video series yet. I still have the run episode that we shot with Run Lab, which I need to finish off, and we're going to be working with Dr. Brian Mann at Dynamic Sports Medicine to do the second part of that run episode, which is where I start working on the particular strengthening issues or strengthening exercises to fix the issues that we found during my run map. And then also we have the buying guide that I talked about doing. We have some other miscellaneous stuff as well. We haven't even really talked about race nutrition at all. And also, actually, one thing that came to mind when I was racing in Galveston was how much faster is a disc wheel. That's something that I would like to investigate as well, because almost all of the pros were running discs, and a lot of the people that came by me were running discs as well. And I'm not saying that they passed me because they had a disc wheel on the back, but they are supposedly faster, and I know in fact that they are faster in a lot of different circumstances and wind speeds and things like that. So I think maybe we'll do some more testing of that hopefully in the future as well, if I can get my hands on one. So yeah, if you've got anything that you want us to look into or to do a video on, drop me a line or mention something in the comment section below. And if you want to see more of what we got coming, click the subscribe button. For now, I've got an Xterra race next weekend in Austin, which is going to be a really cool race at Pace Bend Park. And then also the USAT Off-Road Tri Champs as well in Waco a few weeks after that. So we've got a couple of races coming up. I'll probably throw together a race recap video of those as well if you want to see them. And yeah, shoot me an email, jason@stemcaps.com. Let me know what you want to see in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I managed to take a little bit of Coke. I managed to take a little bit of Coke.